So hello and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, if you read the title of this, then you will know that we have the season 12 winner of the biggest transformation here. And if you've kept up with their season at all, you will know that she has lost quite a bit of weight. Wait until you hear her story. I mean, man, you want to talk about overcoming the odds. You want to talk about overcoming a cycle of weight loss, starting and stopping and starting and stopping, and just really see what it's like to dig in, to never give up. And to her story, I'm telling you, you're going to be super duper inspired. And if you have not heard her story, if you have not followed along with her, then you can go back. I will link it down below, the entire season of season 12, where you can see her stepping on the scale for the very first time. You can hear about her struggles, her frustrations, her triumphs, and how this amazing wife and mama she lost 34.8 pounds in 12 weeks. She's not done. She's still going, and she is here tonight. So please help me welcome to the call, Miss Sara.
Hi, everyone. Hello, Carmen.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. So you hear me say all those things. You hear me say that in 12 weeks you lost 34.8 pounds, but the truth is you've lost over 50 pounds. You started off at 314 pounds.
Yep.
And at the end of our phase one, you stepped on the scale at 264.
Yep. It's quite a change. It's God is good. Let's put it that way. When you've been through the journey of weight loss a few times, you're just like, okay, am I going to do this again? I'm going to try this again. It is pretty mind blowing when you step back and take a look at the accomplishment and the progress. I'm really happy and really excited to continue in this journey with you, Carmen.
It's amazing to watch. It's amazing to see, because we have similar stories. We started at similar weights,
Yeah.
similar sizes, and both being moms and all of that. Like, you kind of, after you've started and stopped and started and failed and gotten your hopes up and not, like, you kind of like, well, let me ask you, I shouldn't assume, did you ever get to a point, because I know I certainly did, where you were just like, all right, maybe I'm just meant to be fluffy. Maybe I'm
Absolutely.
big boned. Maybe, like, how was that for you?
Absolutely. That was me about 2 years ago. And I am big boned. I'm not going to deny it. I'm 5'10". I am broad shouldered. My dad was scouted by the New York Giants. So I always say I get my petite girlish frame from him. But it's just being comfortable at your size, but at a healthy weight. And that was the problem. I wasn't at a healthy weight. And it was time to, I tried to live in with the, like, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be. But when you're struggling to get good sleep, when you're struggling to not have heartburn every night when you go to bed, just getting ready during the day and clothes not fitting, you realize very quickly that's not the way you're supposed to live.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the, obviously, I mean, any of us that are watching that have struggled with our weight, we know those struggles, not feeling comfortable, not feeling confident, the aches, the pains, the sleep, the swelling, even when you travel. Like, I can remember even traveling and my ankles being swollen, and just not just and you kind of get used to it a little bit because we get there gradually. But what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you? Because you said you were there about 2 years ago. So what was the straw that was like, enough is enough? This is not the way I'm supposed to live. What was that for you?
Yeah. So for me, I mentioned that in one of my videos with you that my mother got sick. And I did have to put myself on hold at that point. I was blessed with an opportunity. I had owned a business for 5 years. A friend just happened to reach out and say, hey, I've got this job. I think you'd be great at it. And I thought, wow, I could have time off. I could have a staff to support me, because I was a freelancer by myself. Not that I didn't have great freelancing friends who would step in a pinch, but it was just like the things that led up was my mom getting sick right after I got this job, and I had to focus on her until her passing in April of 2023. So April 2023, you're numb. You're in like, you don't know what. I mean, your mom's gone. Your world is turned upside down. But for me, it started happening right at the end of that year into 2024. I was like, okay, I'm okay now. Mom's in a good place. I'm okay. Dad's gonna be fine. The kids are gonna be fine. I can't keep pouring from an empty cup. I have to make some changes. So, and then the things that kind of reinforced that were absolutely traveling. I love to travel, and to have to ask for that seatbelt extension was just like, and they're like, don't be ashamed, just ask for it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to have the seatbelt extender. So that was one thing. And then the second thing was, in addition to working full time, I also have a part time job where I'm a tour guide for the Minnesota Twins. And that is major physical work. I love baseball. I love showing off our baseball park in our stadium to fans from all over the world. But I am done at the end, especially if I'm doing 2 tours. It's probably about 5 miles. It's like my dream retirement job. I just happened to get it 20 years early. And there are people in their 70s and 80s who are just kicking my pants in their physicality. And I was just like, if I want to continue doing this on the weekends, in my spare time, I need to start taking better care of myself. And that's when I went, okay, I need to lose. So that's when I was at my all-time high of 314. And then in July, and I was like thinking, oh, I lost 20 pounds, 15 pounds. That's great. And my doctor's like, no, you're pre-diabetic. And I went, okay. So then in July 20, I know exactly the date, July 22nd, 2024, I was like, okay, God, I need to make a change here. I need to lose 100 pounds in 1 year. I don't know how I'm going to do it. My doctor and I agreed that the semaglutide option was not a good one for me, that there have been too many changes in insurance. She's seen too many patients that either were kicked off, but in all cases, people were regaining their weight. And she just said, yeah, you don't want to go through that roller coaster. You've already been through the roller coaster. And so we had me scheduled for bariatric surgery in October.
Wow.
And then Matthew Wyatt, your season 2 winner, for the body challenge, posted on his Facebook page that Carmen was looking for contestants for season 12. And I went, okay, this is it. It's now or never, Sarah. Get registered and get going. And then it was so hilarious because when I found out I made it, I was on Marco Polo, the app we use to communicate with each other all offline off the show, and reached out to season 3 contestant Krista Joy, and I just said, guess who's on Biggest Transformation? And she's been awesome, and just kind of said, this is what to expect. As you know, she did a Marco Polo with all of us and answered all our questions in the first week, and she's just such an inspiration. And that was really, for me, Carmen, the biggest difference in the Biggest Transformation. I have lost weight twice, more than 70 pounds, once on my own in college, once through Weight Watchers. And in both cases, I gained it back. And that's what made me think, oh, maybe I'm just supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
But to see both Matthew and Krista Joy lose over 100 pounds and keep it off for at least 2 years, that's when I went, okay, Carmen's got something different here than what I'm used to. And I need to figure out what that secret sauce is. So that's why I'm here.
That's amazing. I think a lot of us have heard when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And when you get to that desperate place where you're just like, you've tried, because weight loss is one of those weird things, especially, well, I would not even say especially with women and men. Like, we almost feel like we shouldn't need help, like, we're a smart woman, we're a smart man, like, I should be able to figure this out. Like, we've all heard eat less, move more. But there's so much more that goes into why we're overweight. And so when you obviously you knew Matthew, who's amazing. I mean, he was in season 2, and all their seasons are on YouTube, so you can go back and watch them, which is crazy. But when you see him starting off at over 300 pounds and losing 150 pounds, and wound up winning like $100,000 for his transformation. And then you see Krista Joy, who is one of the absolute kindest, sweetest humans on the planet. You see her transformation. I mean, man, and she started off, she had to lose weight to have surgery.
Yeah.
Like she had to have a surgery, and the doctor said, we won't do surgery unless you lose weight. And so she was in a place where she needs the surgery, but she's got to lose weight. And same thing, she had seen Matthew go through the program. And so you apply for this program and you get the video that says, here's what it is. It's my way or the highway. Like these are the, like this is not for the faint of heart. Like we're serious about getting results. Was there any point where you were like, what am I doing?
Yeah. I think you know that because I have high functioning anxiety, and I had to do your program for at least 4 days before we officially started. So I actually was 302, but by the time I went in for my official weigh-in, I think it was like 298, and I was like, dang it. But at the same time going, yes, so because I was like, I can apply that toward, my overall weight loss goal. But I was like, no, losing, I'm still winning, so yeah, I definitely was intimidated by it. I knew what Krista Joy had to do in particular because she told me about it. And but I just liked how you were like, this is the prep week, set it up. You didn't tell us, but I was like, this is when I'm going to do my dry run. And then that way I can ask you, and I can also ask Carmen, the mentor from season 12, like, when she says this, what does she mean? So that was what was fantastic, was I could try it so that by day one, I was like, okay, I'm ready to rock and roll. And I think it's just important to have grace in that first week. You are going to screw up. You are going to be like, oh, I thought that was a carb. And it's just pausing and making sure you read through the materials before you put something in your mouth, it was hard for me to do, quite frankly.
Yeah, we go from eating whatever and not
Yeah.
thinking too much about it to planning what we're eating and eating intentionally. What would you say was the hardest thing for you inside of the program?
Definitely the water intake was hard. And I thought it was hilarious because there was an actor, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he said for him, the water was the biggest challenge. And it's just like, you're constantly going to the bathroom and you're just like, but now I've got a good rhythm for that. So everything comes in its time. I did huge workouts, and I used to work out a ton in high school and college, and really early on with my kids. I used to get up at 5:30 and go to the gym, before dropping off my kids. And I just realized how much I missed that. I had really changed up my routine where I was working out maybe 2 to 3 times a week doing Pilates. And I was just like, it just wasn't getting the results. And the reason why it was because of what I was putting in my, as you say, pie hole. So, so it's all the things. You can't do just one thing well. You got to do really all 4 things well, which is, eating within that window, following the containers, drinking the water, and exercising, and then adding sleep. Obviously, sleep is so important, and getting the rest. And trust me, you will be tired and you will get rest in this program.
Well, and you have to, like, that's when your body repairs, and it actually, when you're getting the proper amount of sleep, your body releases more weight than if you're not, because there's less stress on the body when you're resting. So let me ask you this, because this has been a common like, these are 2 questions people get that I get all the time.
Yeah.
When they start inside of the program, or any weight loss program, not even just our program, any weight loss program, I think a big thing for people, a big myth out there, this was one of my fears, was I was going to be starving all the time. I was going to be super hungry. So have you found that was the case for you? Or, like, for me personally, I was just like, when I started eating healthy, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a crap ton of freaking food.
Yeah, as you know, Carmen, in the first 2 weeks of the program, I found that Plan B, which was the 250 eating, I think it's like 200 to 250. That was what I was eating, and I couldn't finish my containers. And I reached out to you and I said, "Is it okay if I bump down to Plan A?" And you were like, "Absolutely." And so that was good. One thing I have learned through my weight loss journey, though, is at night, if you're feeling hungry, that's a good sign, because that is a sign that you're going to be losing losing weight, and you're going to wake up the next morning and you're going to see a change in the scale. So I actually like to lean into that, because it's, I know I'm going to have a result that I'm going to be happy with in the morning. And that is the hardest, because that's when the mind game starts. Like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have a cookie? Oh, you've been doing so well, Sarah. We're like, what's one more this, but I'm like, nope, this is when I have to dig deep and really uh, embrace. Like, I love what you've said, where it's like, I know my body's eating the fat, and it's like the Pac-Man, like, just let it do its thing. And so, and I'll see, and it's usually like 2 or 3 days in a month, like right before my cycle starts, that I'm just like, yep, that's the time where I need to really lean into the program, know that I had my containers, know that I don't need extra food, and it's going to show on the scale the next day.
That's amazing. So that's one myth. And obviously, we both have busted that myth, that to lose weight doesn't mean you have to be starving. And,
No.
but sometimes I think at night, a lot of us that struggle with our weight, we're so used to eating and going to bed full, that when we aren't going to bed full, that it's a weird feeling at first. But
Yeah.
I love the perspective shift. I did the same thing, where it was like, you start associating that, like, that your tummy growling at bedtime with the, yeah, that means instead of breaking down all the food I just shoved in my pie hole tonight, you're going to go attack the fat stores. And it's kind of exciting when you hear
It
your
is.
ego, instead of being like, oh, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, I just think for us as moms, and mom, when we were, especially with younger children, it's just like you're so focused on feeding them, getting them taken care of. Sometimes it's baths, sometimes it's making sure they do their homework, it's reading to them. And I think by that point, you're so exhausted that you just are like, I just want some time for me, and I want to stick something in my mouth, and just kind of unwind. And you just have to learn a new way of unwinding. You can't, putting food in at the end of the day is not the option. That it doesn't work for me. It may work for other people, but it definitely doesn't work for me. It backfires.
I don't think it works for anybody. I mean, eating, like self-medicating with food, I don't think it's ever the answer, because we don't feel better and it doesn't
Very
make us
true.
healthier, which doesn't anyway. I don't think it's ever the answer, like ever. And we never typically feel good about it later.
No.
So so that was that's the
Yeah.
first question I get a lot. The second one I get a lot is, a lot of people make up in their brain, because they've been on the same cycle you and I have been on, where we diet, we struggle, we lose weight, we gain it back, and it's like this whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at least in my mind, I made losing this weight to be this giant hill, this giant Mount Everest, this giant almost impossibility. And when I finally did it, I felt like it was easier than I thought I had built it up to be in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So, my question for you is, do you feel like it was easier than you thought it was going to be, harder than you thought it was going to be, or how would you, because I get that question a lot.
Yeah, I think it was easier because I was ready. If I weren't ready physically and mentally, and just sick and tired of being sick and tired, it would have been hard.
Yeah.
But because I was like, nope, I can't pour from an empty cup anymore. Family's okay, so I need to be okay, so that I can be my best self. It was very, like I said, getting over the initial anxiety and going, oh my gosh, am I doing this right? Am I going to see the results? Am I, in our team particular, that the struggle for our team has been weighing ourselves every day. And I just went, nope, this is data. This is, like, I love the fact that I woke up this morning and I lost a half a pound. Like, before, I would have kicked myself and said, that's not good enough. But it's just like, when you add a half a pound cumulatively to 55 pounds, you're like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I still have a ways to go. I plan to lose another 100 pounds, but it's not so daunting anymore. It's just like, slow and steady wins the race. Don't kill yourself. Just keep doing what you're doing and you'll get there.
Yeah. And well, you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're like, wow, like I'm down 50 pounds already. I've
Yeah.
lost 35 pounds in the past 12 weeks. Like, okay, like you start to see the path. You start to see a
Mhm.
way that this is possible. And you start to get you start to get excited, because I think none of us want to be unhealthy. None of
No.
us want to age with all this extra weight. It's just not good for any part of our life. And so, but when you kind of accept it because you don't know if you ever can, it's different when you start to have hope. It's different when you start to see yourself doing it and you're like I'm doing this thing. Like I'm gonna do this thing. Uh so what have your friends and family, because obviously, over 50 pounds down, Sarah,
Yeah.
your butt's smaller. You're looking a little different. You're running those stairs at the baseball stadium. One time, she like when she took us to work with her, and she gives us like she shows us the stadium, which is so cool. And she set her phone up, and she like right like the stairs are I mean, they're stairs. They're
Yeah.
stadium stairs, and she like and it was like, look at her go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun from a health purpose. The other thing is, as you know, I have a really bad knee. I've torn my ACL, my anterior cruciate ligament, 3 times in my right knee. The third time, I had a doctor decide, nope, I'm not repairing it. You're just too heavy. We can't fix it. And so I've had to learn how to do a lot of modifications. But it's amazing how much the body bounces back. Like it's not overnight, but we didn't gain this weight overnight, as you know, Carmen. But it does happen gradually, and it's kind of like, yeah, I did that. Like today, I did 80-day obsession week 2, and these are hour-long workouts, and I'm excited. I'm not. They can be overwhelming and they can be intimidating, but you're like, I did it. I didn't quit. I may have not done it perfectly, but I did it, so that's been exciting. I think, like obviously friends have noticed. I did let like my crew know, like, I'm doing this. I need your texts. I need your encouragement. And they've been awesome. But I think the biggest for me was the other reason why I really wanted to lose the weight. And this was my time as I turned 50 in May. And you may not notice I'm still kind of in workout mode, so I'm not all dolled up like you are, Carmen. But I had gone to an event and I met a man from Colombia, and the friend had said, "Oh, I saw you're on this YouTube show, and you're losing weight. That's really exciting." And he asked, "Well, why are you doing it?" And I'm like, "Well, because I want to look really good when I turn 50." And this man from Colombia looked at me and he goes, "You are not turning 50." And I said, "Because Carmen helped us accept compliments." I said, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate that compliment," rather than going, "Nah." And he said, "Sara, in my culture, we don't do compliments. We either tell you the truth or we don't tell you anything." And he goes, "If I told you you do not look almost 50, then I wouldn't have said it." And I just went, because to hear it from a stranger, like who had never seen me before, that, and you're just feeling good because clothes, like that particular day, a pair of jeans I hadn't worn in 2 years, I was wearing them and they were loose. So I knew walking in, I was already feeling good. But when to hear that from somebody, you're just like, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing the right things. It's good affirmation.
100%. That's so amazing and so good for you to like believe him and be like,
Yeah.
okay, that. Like, yes, yes, I do. Yes, I am. My last question, because so often, it's easy for someone to sit on YouTube or the internet or to see this interview somewhere and be like, oh, Sarah's special. She must be this, she must be that, and make excuses for why something like this works for you, but it wouldn't work for them. So,
Yeah.
what would you say to somebody who's in the exact place you are? They're watching this interview right now. They're inspired and they're like, man, I wish I could lose 50 pounds. I wish I could lose 35 pounds in 12 weeks. I wish I could lose another 100 pounds, but they don't quite, they're happy for you, but they have a hard
Mhm.
time believing it for themselves.
Yeah. Again, you can't pour from an empty cup. Your love language. My love language is serving people. And I couldn't anymore. Those 2 years that my mom was sick was really hard. We had another family member who got sick during that time. And I could just tell I was constantly running on empty. And it is hard to do something like this when all that is happening. But there comes a season where you emerge from that and you're like, okay, now what? And that's for me, it was my season. And there's times where I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have done this 20 years ago. It would have been so much easier, but it wasn't my season.
Yeah.
This was my season. I was ready. Um, and I had faith. I knew I could do it. And I also just really needed to do this for me and not for anybody else. That more than anything. And I know now it's just the blessings are going to multiply because I've got the energy and the stamina, and I speak up for myself. I can say no to things too, so which I may not have wanted to do in the past. So yeah, it's when you know it's your time, when you're at that point where I was July 22nd, and it's like, I got to do something, and I don't know how I'm going to do this, but you throw this big goal out into the universe, and you're like, I'm going to lose 100 pounds in 1 year. Keep an eye out. You never know. You'll see those opportunities. Like Carmen posting on YouTube that she's looking for contestants. It's maybe a friend offering to start working out with you. In my case, it was like all my friends were like, yes, you do this and you can do it, and we're going to support you. So it's being vulnerable enough to ask for help. I think that's the other thing is I think a lot of times when we're trying to lose weight, we're just like, I got it. But no, you don't. Now, if you need to lose 100 pounds, you don't have it. And you reminded us again of that last night. It's like, don't start doing things. Stick to the plan. It's been working. Keep doing the plan, and the plan will work for you. And when you're ready. And not even army can hold you back when you're ready.
100%. No matter how big the army is, it's like when you know enough is enough. Here's where I'm going. I'm writing a brand new chapter. It's been so incredible to watch you, Sara, and just to really fully own this, to not go half in, to not go 70%, 80%, but to really jump in with both feet and tackle some pretty hard things and overcome some pretty crazy, amazing things that have, because all of us have things that hold us back. And it's just been, and I know you're not, it's been so fun to watch. It's been so inspiring to watch. And I love the part that you've come so far, but you're not done yet. And so go back if you haven't watched Sara's season. Make sure to leave her an encouraging comment down below in the comments. And you can watch her entire season of season 12. Watch her kick some booty, take some names, and watch her drop 35 pounds in 12 weeks over on season 12, which will be linked down below. If you want to get on the wait list for any of our future seasons, that link will be down below too. Sara, thank you so very much for being on. And we actually have an interview that we just did with her mentor, Carmen DeFore, and she's another amazing woman. You can watch that interview.
Story. Yep.
Yes.
No,
So
thank you,
Sara. You're
Thank
welcome.
you. And keep rocking. We'll keep rocking. Go big, go home, right?
So for those of you guys watching, thank you for joining us. We will see you next week, same time, same place.
Bye.